It's Rob Jan Webb here for Waxadis Music Tutorials, and what I want to show you today is a walkthrough of the hit disco track that I had this summer in 2019 called A Disco in Detroit, which was my disco rendition of the classic Strings of Life track from Rhythm is Rhythm. Now, I took the original riff of this, replayed it, reworked it, and then just disco-fied it all around. Initially, I wanted to do this, I did do this as a remix of the Kathy Brown and the Soul Central track, but that got put to one side, and I decided to release it myself as an instrumental. Now, I want to show you how I did it and how simple it actually is in terms of production value, and you could take inspiration from this and go and do your own sort of track using this sort of styles that I've done here, some of the sounds I've used, and go and create something original yourself out of this. This track did really well. It peaked at number 14 in the Traxsource.com new disco sales charts, and it got into the top 20 also at JunoDownload.com in the disco chart. So all around, it's done really well, and it got played by a lot of decent people. So it was, it was a job worth doing. So all I did originally was I got the Rhodes up, and I just played in the original riff. So if I just solo the original riff and play it here, you know the track, and that's all I did. That's all I did for that. And let's just get up a little, a riff, and I just goes like. That's it, so simple. And if I just put on the screen there the notes while I was playing it, you can see what it is. Really easy. And I don't even think that is the actual. I mean, I think I listened to the original record and I just took that section, because obviously the original there's a lot more going on in the original version. So I took that section there and just looped that and got that going. And then what I did further back at the start was I did a lead Rhodes line up in a higher octave. And this is just chaotic. This is just like this, look. And there's all that, look. And then put some other Rhodes on here, the chords. So the riff that I've just played you, I just put them as chords. I extended the notes. But what I did with that was, with that, I've got 3 Rhodes on it, as you can see. I've got the main riff, the chords, and the lead line. So I've got 3 sections of Rhodes. And on this Rhodes, what I did was an old trick that I've always done, which is I've turned the Rhodes. So I play the chord. If I just play the chord in like this, look. It's got the vibrato on it, it's got the wobble. So if I take it off, it's boring. So obviously get an auto filter, stick it on, turn your LFO all the way up, turn your hertz to a musical notation, and then experiment with your rate. And I put a 316 rate here, look. So there you go, that's that one. So yeah, it just gives it some life, it gives it some character. And so on. Okay, so I've got that going off, and I've got a lead line on top. So the lead line is just basically. And all I'm doing is I'm just using pretty much all of the black keys for the riff. That's all it is. And just doing lots of trills and lots of little licks, and that's all I'm doing with that. So you've got that, and all I've done is I've got 2 kicks, a real live kick sound. And I think they're both live kick sounds rather than synthesized ones. So this one, actually tell a lie, this one is the Oberheim DMX drum machine. It sounds realistic, but this is the same kick that New Order used on Blue Monday. So it's quite an iconic kick. And then I laid it with a more live drum sound with a bit more punch to it. And I just put 2 kicks together That's all I did. So that's what I did with that. So there's just 2 kicks there together just to give them a little bit of thickness. And then all I did was I got some Congo loops. Just that loop there. And I think I just took the bottom end out like I always do. Put the kicks on. And where else is this? Another one. There's a beat here. And this is like the hi-hats. And that's just a beat, and I've just took it right down. Just took the kick away. And then that gives me that live hi-hat sound which I wanted. And another Congo. So like congos and bongos. Panned them slightly, look here, look. If you can see they're panned. Some really nice loops in there. And then you stick your Rhodes chorus on. And then I've got some more beats coming in here, which are the perks. And here we go. Another hi-hat and a clap. And a snare. And then, further down the line, I've got a crash and hi-hat. And a clap. So they're the drums. But also in the gaps here I've got the drum fill. And that's this. And that's that there. And which is taken from Roy Ayers' Running Away track. Running track. And just show you there. And that's all that is. That was taken from Roy Ayers' track, Running. And so that's the drums. They're the beats of the track. So we've got the congos, perks. And as I say, they're all loops pretty much. I don't spend too much time on programming drums with this. I didn't want to. I wanted it. I just put in those hi-hats and claps at the bottom. And I wanted to make it as organic as possible. I wanted as much real sound as opposed to synthesized. So that's why there's a lot of samples rather than programmed in. So there's your drums. As I say, put the Rhodes back on. Let's go down here. And then we've got that in there. So we've got the string as well. So let's get the string in. As I say, what I've done with the string is exactly the same as what I've done with the chords. It's just played the chords in, set them at an octave, used the Play VST, which is the East West Sounds Online package, which is incredible for strings. The sound of these strings is so realistic. You know, it's got all your different settings, everything on here. And then it goes up. Put the Rhodes on with it. It just sets it nice. Again with the strings, take the bottom end out. So you don't want all that mud in there. So that's that. What else have we got in there? We've got the leads which we've done, the lead line. And that's my lead line there. You can see it's all a bit chaotic here. And all as I say is all I've done is I've just twinkled about with the higher octaves. And I've pretty much left it quite loose. It's a bit jangly, a bit jingly. I wanted it to be like live sounding as opposed to too synthesized. So there's some stuff out there that isn't been quantized on here. But the majority of it has been quantized, but there's some parts of it I just wanted it to be loose. And then we've got the bass line, which is off the Tyrell synth, which is something I always boast about. And it's just the boogie bass sound. And it's quite rough sounding. Just going ape in the compressor there, look. And the bass line. Put it together. Let's just get the sounds that I want up. So the bass there is just nice on its own. It's low octave here. but then when it picks up pace, I go up an octave. You hear it here, look. It's picking up pace now. And this is where it drops. And this is a different bass. It's got a different slight notation here, look. Not very much difference, just a slight. And then we've got the master riff. So what we have there are the strings, which are again from the play synth. And it's just 2 notes of each root note of the bass and the chords and the riff. And they just carry over with the marks. And these are just stab strings. Again, they come from the play, which, as I say, is a brilliant orchestral synth. And that's available as a subscription thing. You can pay for that $19 a month, whatever this costs. So you've got that going off in there, and it's just got all the authentic sort of sounds in there, the nuances and the little tiny details of playing a real instrument would sound like. So that's that. And then what I did was add a little bit of an early 80s boogie riff in here, which is here. So let's just solo that and solo that. Put a riff on. This bit. And that's there, look. And it's the same bass line. And that's all I did there. It's got that little glissando thing there, look, which is really cool. Which gives it a real disco sort of feel. And that is just doing that. Up the octaves. That's all I did. On the black keys, like that. And it just gives off a real good effect. But that sort of sound there, that's the bass sound. Put loads of delay on it, and then go up an octave. Up again. And you just create that real early 80s sort of... Dead simple. Bit of congos. Claps. And then it breaks down here. And now we've got some strings. And that's where these strings come back into play, which are just the chords again. And then the Rhodes, I've got another Rhodes leads. Just floating on top. And then it builds up again. And then it brings it to a close. So that is pretty much it. That's how I made a disco in Detroit. I hope you've taken something from that and that you can implement some of these techniques into your own productions. As I say, I didn't want it to be too synthesized. I wanted it to sound as rough as possible, and I think I achieved that kind of looseness with it, which is something I try to look for if I'm making a disco track, to be honest. So, as I say, all we've got in there are a few drum loops, a few congo and percussion loops and things like that, drum fills, crashes, hi-hats, the usual things. Strings, there are 3 strings in there, and there are 1, 2, 3 Rhodes in there. There's 1 Rhodes, but 3 different versions of that Rhodes. So you've got your main riff, you've got your chords, and then you've got your main riff, which is more raw sounding without any effect. And then you've got your lead lines down here, which are higher up in the octaves. So yeah, that's it. That's all you need. They're all the ingredients and elements you need to make a pretty funky live disco record, or disco live sounding record, should I say. So yeah, Take from that what you will. The link for the actual track is in the bottom of this video if you want to go listen to it. Thank you for watching. Any tips or questions you may have or things you need to find out, just email me or just leave something in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching. Take care. Goodbye.